honeys, Erica here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different from what I've been doing lately. I'm gonna kind of get away for a little while from the large room makeovers and instead do some simpler, easy DIY craft projects that are achievable for most people and on a budget. Today I'm starting with spring paper crafts. So these are all made out of paper, but I think they look chic and elevated and they didn't cost a fortune. If you want to see more videos like this, like the easier couch crafts as I call them, leave a comment down below and make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I hope you guys love this new video. Check it out. Mwah. This first project is a painted canvas vase. A little while ago, I started painting a canvas and realized I didn't like it to hang up on the wall, but I knew I could repurpose it. So it was actually really fun to do this. I just got some molding texture base from Joann Fabrics, and then I grabbed some house paint. And this is actually canvas paper, but you could totally do this on any type of paper that you want, even dollar store, just like regular construction paper. And you just want to create texture using a little spackle tool. Once it dried, I then hot glued the edge of it to a glass vase from the Dollar Tree. It was $1, super cheap, but I knew I could make it definitely more springy and upcycled. So I'm just gonna push that down, and then I'm going to start to roll it over. And you can see it makes such a cute vase with all that texture on it. And then I'm just gonna add a line of hot glue at the edge there. Oops, don't roll away from me now. And roll it all the way up. And just let it dry there for a second before I do anything else. Now I'm gonna take some scissors and trim off the excess on the top, leaving about an inch above the vase. Make one slit all the way down to where you wanna cut, and then just start cutting around. Once you have the excess trimmed off, trim the bottom as well so that it lays perfectly flat. Now that the edge is all cleaned up, we're just going to simply fold the paper into the vase to create this like kind of textured vase look. It seriously looks to me like a ceramic vase, like a textured vase. And check out how it turned out. Project 2 is a way to get that Pampas grass look on a major budget. They can be quite expensive, so I'm going to show you guys how to make some paper ones that give off the same kind of a boho effect as normal Pampas grasses. So you're just going to take a piece of cardstock and fold it in half. You don't have to make that line like really sharp, just enough to where you can see the difference. And then you're just going to cut almost all the way to the edge of the paper, little slits all the way down. I would say mine are about 1 centimeter apart. You can do thinner. Any thicker than what I've done will be kind of hard, and you'll see why in a second here. But you're just gonna keep making slits all the way down the paper. And this is going to give us our little faux Pampas grass effect. Now you don't wanna cut too close to the edge there, because if you do, the paper will rip. So just make sure you give yourself about 1 centimeter until the edge there. Just keep cutting your paper all the way down, and this is gonna make one faux Pampas grass stem. So if you wanna do this project, you can buy several pieces of cardstock. You can also use construction paper, computer paper, whatever paper you happen to have on hand that's inexpensive. You can definitely achieve a very similar look. So I'm almost done cutting my little slits here all the way to the edge of the paper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the piece of paper over the opposite way, and I'm going to put a line of hot glue on the bottom there to keep it in place. You want to basically fold it over the opposite way and secure it. Now you're gonna take a bamboo skewer, or if you have a wooden dowel from the Dollar Tree, whatever you have on hand that's a long stick, And you're gonna take some hot glue and secure it to the edge there. And then you're gonna start twisting the paper around the bamboo skewer or wood dowel, whatever you have. And you wanna do it in a downward motion so that you're covering as much surface area of the bamboo skewer. So keep folding downwards because that's gonna make your long pampas grass stem instead of just like a big bunch at the top. Keep folding and folding. If you need to secure it for some reason, if it's not holding its position very well, then just use a dab of hot glue and secure it there. But I didn't have any problem just twisting all the way to the bottom and adding a dab of hot glue at the end just to secure it. And now you have your little faux pampas grass stem. Just go ahead and start pulling some of those pieces apart. That'll give you more of a fluffy look, and you can kind of take some of the bend out of the tops there. That just happens when you fold your paper in half. I had to secure in one more spot. But overall, they turned out super cute. You can do this with all kinds of different types of paper, and it's very inexpensive. I will show you how they turned out after the next craft. Project 3 is going to go hand in hand with the faux pampas stems. We are making faux sun palms out of paper. So what you want to do is grab a few different colors of paper from your local store, and you want to kind of draw a spade shape. I'm just freehanding this. I'm not the best drawer, but if you're really good at drawing a spade, then just go for it. But it took me a little time to like draw out the pattern for it, but it doesn't have to be perfect, which is the beauty of this project. You can also use construction paper on this project, but I find that just for whatever reason, cardstock works the best because it holds its shape the best. So I'm gonna cut out my little spade that I've drawn on there, and I'm gonna use that as a guide for the other ones that I'm going to make. I'm gonna make several of these. Basically, we're gonna make a faux sun palm and pampas grass bouquet. I'm so slow at cutting these out just because I am just really bad with cutting shapes for whatever reason. I don't know why. This paper is also a little stiff, so it was a little trickier to cut out than like construction paper. Okay, now that I have my little spade shape, I'm going to start folding it back and forth in really small sections, like under a centimeter each. The smaller you can get the sections, the better it will look. So you're just gonna go back and forth, fold on one side, then flip it over, then fold it on itself. And you're just gonna keep doing that back and forth, all the way across your spade. There are several ways that I've seen this DIY done, but for me, this is what I've found that works the best for me. And I have to say, it looks pretty realistic. So I'm just going with this method because it's the easiest for me. And I like that the shape is already cut out, so you don't have to do any cutting after it's already folded. So I'm just gonna keep going back and forth. It gets a little tricky once you get to that like bottom part of the spade area, but just use the tips of your fingers to fold each little piece over and you should be fine. You kind of want to press down a little bit too, especially when you get towards the end here because you have a lot of the cardboard folded. It's going to be a little bit harder to do, but I mean, it's not really that hard at all. It's just a matter of making the edges very sharp. Smoothing with your fingers. You can also use, I don't know, some type of wood block or heavy object to kind of like crease everything. Doesn't that already look like a sun palm? Like, I can't. It's so good. And you got your little folds in the bottom, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pinch that shut with some hot glue. And you just wanna hold that together. You may even need to like rubber band it for a couple of minutes. I am really just pinching and waiting for the glue to dry. And while the glue is starting to dry, I'm using a piece of paper because the glue's really hot, so I didn't want to burn my hand, so I'm kind of just using that paper to squeeze it closed. Okay, and now we need to add some type of stem on this. So I'm gonna use my same wood skewers from before, or even a wood dowel. Whatever you have on hand will work as long as it's nice and long so you can put it inside of a vase. And I'm just going to stick it inside of the back of that paper there in the opening. And that's what our little sun palm looks like. Okay, now we're gonna make the larger sun palm. I actually think the other project is called a sun spear, but I just call them all sun palms, but this is like the wider, more pointy one. So I'm going to take the same type of cardstock that I've been using, and I'm going to fold it in half and then cut it in half. And then I'm just going to fold it about, I would say like a 1/2 inch, and do the same method as we did before, folding it back and forth, all the way till we get to the edge of the paper. I wasn't that worried that you could see the little barcode on the back because I knew it was going to be facing the back in my bouquet that I'm going to make, so don't worry about that. So just keep folding until you get all the way to the edge. And that is 1/2 of your sun palm. I kind of fudge with it a little bit to like show myself that the shape is correct. Now I'm just going to take some scissors and cut the top corner off of each section. You can kind of do a couple at a time, just go with the fold there. And this is going to create our points for the sun palm. They have that really like sharp pointy tops to them, so that's how we create that. So that is one side of your sun palm. So now we need to make one more side just like that, so we can glue the two pieces together and make one large sun palm. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before, folding back and forth all the way until we get to the end of the paper. This is a little harder to do with cardstock because it's quite stiff. If you did this with construction paper, this would be a total breeze. And probably a little cheaper too, although the cardstock was not that expensive. I wish my hands moved this fast. Okay, so now I have the second one, and I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did to the other one and just cut points for all of the tops. So there's my other side. And now let me pull my other one. So you're gonna glue it in the center right there. Find where the points line up best and grab your hot glue gun, put a bead down the center there, and glue the two pages together. This is just going to give you that wider sun palm look. You'll see once I kind of gather it together. Look, that is the shape we're going for. So now that I know that that's the shape, I'm going to go ahead and put a dab of hot glue in between each of the little accordion folds. And then I'm going to pull it all together. This thing, it's a little tricky to work with because it wants to boing, boing, but you just kind of hold it together. I had to use some rubber bands to keep the sun palm together while the hot glue was drying. You may not have to do that if you use construction paper. And now I just have to add the bamboo skewer into it. You could do this beforehand as well, but I'm choosing to do it after. And I made several more like this in different colors, and I put a huge bouquet together, and here is how it turned out. I'm so excited. Project 4 is a super simple wall art idea using paper. It's very quick, but I wanted to add it in here for you guys to see. Okay, so I'm going to start with just a cheap IKEA frame, and I'm removing the backing board, and I'm just going to cut out different shapes of cardstock. You can use construction paper for this as well, and I'm just going to glue them down with a glue stick. I even tore some pieces off. I cut some odd shapes. The more random and the more odd the shapes are, the better this will look. It's abstract art, so you can do really whatever you want. And then once you're done pasting all of the pieces on your backing board to your liking, you can add as many layers as you want. Then you're just gonna simply put the frame back on and mount it on your wall.